Hello, welcome to week 13. Well, can you believe we're almost done? It's just a few more weeks left in the semester. And any of you who are still missing some assignments, please take the time to get those in because you want to be sure to have all the points you can muster before the end of the semester. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be making sure that you understand how to do the final, and because this is a new process for me, so I'm learning it right along with you. Some of you probably already know how to do it because you've done it for your other classes, but this, you do have to take a proctored exam, and that means that you need to find somebody in your community, not a family member, but someone in your community who I can email the password to, and they will be there to give you the password and let you log into the exam. Now, one of the things about your exam that I do want you to be aware of, so you don't panic and think you're going to have this hard exam without any information, it is going to be an open book exam, so you'll be aware of that. Open book, open notes that you may have taken as you have completed assignments and that sort of thing. And you'll be given 2 hours to complete the exam. So hopefully it won't cause you any stress. It's only worth 100 points. The really big thing that you will be graded heavily on is your resource file for this class. That it's the project that is due the week of, let's see, I'm looking on my assignments list. Anyway, it's in your schedule for your assignments, but I think it's due May 11th, if I'm not mistaken, and then your final has to be taken by May 11th. It is worth 300 points, your resource file, and be sure that you are reading instructions. I'm going to want good information that you have taken in, both from the lecture notes, from the reading in the book, the additional assigned readings. The more of the additional information that you include, the better high points that you're going to get. Basically the process is going to be help me understand that you understand what's important about working with children with disabilities, especially at this age, and inclusion, and the aspects of inclusion that are so critical for young children. So anyway, just a little bit of information about that. This week, in week 13, it's the chapter 14 in our main text, and it is basically looking at helping children learn independent skills and adaptive skills. Adaptive skills mean basically things that are kind of expected for children to do for themselves. And you have to remember that some of those things are different based on culture. A lot of, Americans traditionally, it's important for young ones to feed themselves at a very early age. Well, a lot of Asian cultures that may be over here for a while or even permanently, it's important to the mother to continue to feed the child until they're several years old, because that is part of their culture. It's for various reasons, but mostly because they want to make sure the child gets enough food. It's a bonding experience between the mother and the child, and so it's not looked upon as needing to be independent at that age. So that's just one example of things that are different. So we might think, that child's getting a little big to not be feeding themselves, but you got to also keep that in mind and keep a family's culture in mind and be respectful of that. Additionally, it also looks at, the different types and how to break down self-care skills, what's important for children to learn, and if they're having difficulty acquiring a skill, then breaking it down into smaller steps. And the text does a really good job of explaining that. And then I also have a link 2, the embedded learning opportunities, how to build learning opportunities into the various times of day. And that's kind of part of one of the assignment, or the assignment for this week, is to how you would teach, what is it, counting? I'm going to look at that real quick. Teach colors or counting or something. I'm looking on week 13. Okay, it's a 2-part, so don't forget that. There's 2 parts, so don't just do one of them. Select one of the major steps in toileting sequence or any other self-care skill. It doesn't have to be toileting, and analyze it into its component parts. So after you've read the assignment, you're going to write a 3 to 5 step program for a child to be able to learn that skill, a 4-year-old. And then the second part of the assignment is to assume the learning to count to 5 or more objects is written into an IEP for a 4-year-old. Give examples of how you might embed this learning task with several self-care routines. So how might you embed the counting to 5 during teeth brushing time? Now, I know not all child care does toothbrushing. The Head Start program, it's just a very good opportunity to embed counting. So if you're wanting them to brush for a certain amount of time, seconds, then you can have them count. Then some other times is maybe when you're making a train to line up to go outside to the playground, those types of things. So there are all kinds of ways. So those are just some examples. So give a few additional examples that you might be able to embed that learning activity from the child's IEP. Trying to think what else. Oh, yes. I also really like one of the early photos. You might need to copy and paste it or hit Control before you click on the link. But the very first link in the lecture notes it's a picture. It takes you actually to a Facebook page, a timeline photo of teaching 2s and 3s, and you can see a kiddo at an easel using a car, and a toy car with wheels on it to paint vertically on the easel. And I love the description that it gives. It says, working on vertical surfaces such as an easel strengthens shoulder and arm muscles. Moving this car up and down the paper meant this child's arm had to move against the pull of gravity. We use our easel daily, and I've put it together for other vertical activities as well. And then they're saying they have a link in the comments section to a great article on how you can incorporate more vertical play at home and in the classroom. And there is one of the very first comments is the link to some other activities. But it's a really great, if you don't follow them on Facebook, I suggest that you do, especially if you really are planning on working with really young children. It's called Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds, and you can probably find one of their feeds on My Works Facebook page, which is United Community Action Head Start and Early Head Start. So if you just start typing in United, UNITED, Community Action, it should be one of the first ones that come up, because there's quite a bit of information, so I think it gets updated I know it gets updated fairly frequently, and you might be able to find that some shares that we've done from the 2 and 3s if you can't find it. There's a lot of other really great resources on there for both inclusion and just developmentally appropriate early childhood. And then also some advocacy information as far as advocating for appropriateness for early childhood education, advocating for inclusion, advocating for rights for people with disabilities, and so on and so forth. So I think you'll get a lot of good information from that Facebook page. And you can include some of it on your resource file if it's appropriate. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? basically, that's it in a nutshell. Last week was looking at the room arrangement, the daily routine, those sorts of things, and how it affects behavior and inclusion. In my years of experience, it has really just time and time again, the very, very first thing that has to be looked at next to teachers being ready to go and their education and what they know about children, the next thing that is very important to look at is the room arrangement. You know, if you don't have the room arrangement and the daily routine set correctly, that's going to make or break your classroom, whether you've got children with disabilities or not. And if you do have children with disabilities that you're including in your classroom and you don't have a consistent routine, you don't have appropriate time frames for young children on the like for your different parts of your day, such as circle time, greeting time, work time, or what we call work time, learning center time, that sort of thing. Some people call it free play, but either way, it's if those things are not set appropriately and those children are not getting opportunities to have a lot of self-directed play and time outside, then you're going to have trouble. So just hopefully that you got a lot out of last week's chapter. If you have any questions, be sure to email me. I know that Blackboard was down a good chunk of Sunday, and then it was fixed this morning. So I did send everyone an email within Blackboard to let you know that if you didn't happen to get your assignment submitted last night, or you tried and it was giving you an error, you have until tonight at midnight to get that in without it being counted late. So be sure and contact me. My phone number, of course, is on the syllabus, and you are welcome to text me. And I have gotten some texts from people, and I really appreciate that you are being attentive to your grades and to your assignments, and that you're giving me information and contacting me when things are going on. It makes all the difference in the world as to whether or not I can work with you. So have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon.